We saw Charlie Kirk catch 8 receptions for 144 yards.
Yeah.
We saw
Christian Kirk.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Oh my God, Christian Kirk.
What's the matter, dog? You a farter? This guy's a gangster? His real name is Arthur. And Arthur couldn't catch it when they threw it at him harder. And Arthur and his team won't be going any farther. Oh no, we're doomed! Wait, what's that? It's a bird. It's a plane. It's If Man. If Man. Have no fear. If Man is here. Save us, If Man. Looks like you need a timeout, coach. Let's see how you like this one. If I had an offensive line. He's not doing anything. Yeah, he said if he had an offensive line. All right, Brandon McAnus, we need you to hit a couple of these kicks and we'll be in pretty good shape. I didn't get why, but I really like that kicker. Coach, I just want to say y'all had a great season. Y'all have nothing to hang your heads about, okay, baby? Duval. Hey, Coach, I just want to say you actually suck and you should feel bad for losing, you bum. Duval. Man, no dang old rain, man. Talk about how I'm right where I want him, man. Dang old leading full quarter. God dang, Matt Stafford and god dang Puka the Cool, man.
Welcome in and welcome back to Hybrid Studios and to the Coliseum. My name is Logan Hyder. I appreciate you for being here today. As always, you could be anywhere else watching anything else, and so I do very much appreciate you for clicking on this video. If you are here and you are a return viewer of the channel, I would ask that you do subscribe to the channel. If you would, it does help the channel in more ways than you could possibly imagine. That will be about all of the housekeeping that I will do here in the beginning, because we have a ton of stuff to cover from one of the craziest, if not the statistically craziest, which we will cover that as well later on. Playoff weekend, super wildcard weekend, and I can remember in a long time, even just anecdotally watching it. Every single game seemed like it was just back and forth, and the players that you wanted to have step up, stepped up, and even the ones that didn't were pretty hilarious in the way that they didn't, such as your AJ Browns of the world and that type of thing. Then even the one game that wasn't very entertaining, which was the Steelers and the Texans, a 30-9 absolute destruction job by the Texans on the Steelers, which we picked, of course. We're going to go through my playoff picks here. Even that game had so much fallout from it that we have a ton of stuff to talk about there too. As always, we have a curated collection of posts here, a collection of curiosities, one may say, even you could be said, of hilarious or informative posts, as always, that I have accumulated over the. I have a very special set of posts that I've acquired over the course of just a few days, and I will find something interesting, and I will find something funny, and you will laugh, and you will think. To kind of get into it today, to kind of get us going, to kind of get us started before we jump straight into the playoffs, is we're gonna go through this. We're gonna go through this post by best celebrations, which I thought would be interesting as kind of a callback to a previous generation of NFL football before we talk about what happened over this past weekend. So we're gonna go back before we come forward and go through the picks that I made from last week, and then we're gonna go forward, which is also still back from now, and go through what happened during the games, and then we'll also talk about what we think will happen in the future from now, which may have happened by the time you watch this.
Time travel. What?
First, Nike and NFL jerseys. The first thing that I want to point out about this picture is how oddly everyone is standing, and how oddly, like, most of the people in this picture are looking at the camera. So you got over here, that's an interesting one there. Alex Smith, interesting looking gaze there as well. This guy here looks to genuinely be fed up with the whole thing at this point. Cam Chancellor, I mean, he's just always pissed off, generally speaking. I mean, they obviously told them not to make a face, or maybe like make a serious face or something. But the way that they're just like standing, Michael Myers, like, actually it looks just like the running back stance the guys do now, is interesting. The shoulder pads in some cases, like with Joe Hayden back here, is pretty interesting. Looks like he's taking more of like a high school picture. But let's go through this real quick. And then the last thing that I would say that's weird about it is everybody's kind of squared up except for Alex Smith and Larry Fitzgerald. So I don't know what's going on there. And then the quarterbacks all have double gloves on. They really wanted you to see those Nike Vapor Jets. That might have been Nike Vapor Jet 1 or 2. I'm not sure, but those are definitely early on. And I am old enough to have literally used the first pair of Nike Vapor Jet gloves that ever came out. And they would drop like every season whenever those first started dropping. And so that's how far back my experience with football goes. I damn near was there when gloves first started becoming. I definitely was there whenever gloves became popular from the standpoint of so many different types and so many different colorways and so many different designs. Same thing the cleats, with the cleats and stuff too, but I think it's a little bit much to put Alex Smith in double gloves, Mike Vick in double gloves, Ben Roethlisberger. You can't see his hands back there, which, you never want that to be the case with Ben Roethlisberger. You want to make sure you can keep your eyes firmly on his hands at all times because you just never know. Same thing with this guy here. Yikes. Speaking of, that is Ray Rice. Okay. Yep, we are getting warmed up. Cortland Finnegan for the Rams. We got Wes Welker, one of my favorite players ever, one of the reasons why I wore number 83. We got Larry Fitzgerald, one of the GOATs. Alex Smith, Cam Chancellor, and Ndamukong Suh, half of him, which probably still would lead the league in sacks. Well, him and his other half would fight for the lead in sacks. I don't know who that is, although I want to say maybe it's Antonio Cromartie. I said whenever I was looking at this before that I thought that was Matt Forte, but it's not, and I can't figure out who it is. No idea who that guy is, nor this guy, with all due respect to my linemen out there. That's not exactly a group of guys whose names stick out to me. However, Darren McFadden for the Raiders. What you know about Darren McFadden for the Raiders? Robert Mathis for the Colts, Dwayne Bowe for the Chiefs, Nate Washington for the Titans, Andre Johnson for the Texans, and then that's going to be Champ Bailey, one of the all-time great corners. In the NFL, I have no idea who this guy is. No clue. For the Jaguars, it looks like. So we got all but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of that group. And then we got Ndamukong Suh's other half, and then we got number 23 for the Saints. There's no way that's right. I don't know why I want to say Quentin Jammer. There's no way. Anyways, D'Angelo Williams for the Carolina Panthers. Brian Urlacher, another lineman. Not sure who that is. 27 for the Buccaneers. LeGarrette Blount, I want to say. I don't know who this guy is. He's front and center. Like, he's nasty, and I can't think of number 88. Jermichael Finley. That's a hell of a pull. Jermichael Finley. Shout out to Aiden Rabe. Gotta be careful spelling your name, brother. Michael Vick for the this side of the picture has got some Arkham Asylum villains in it. Michael Vick, Percy Harvin. I think he got in trouble for some shit too, to be real. Victor Cruz, Jason Witten, Andy Dalton, Joe Hayden, Brian Arakpo, I believe, for Washington, and then you got Ray Rice. So, time traveling back to the present. From last weekend to this weekend, some of this stuff is, you would have had to watch the games to see, which I'm assuming everyone did, so we're just going to go through this quickly. But George Kittle had a bottle of tequila brought to him in the locker room after he tore his Achilles, which is just awesome. You really do hate to see that, though. We are going to cover that later on in the episode, by the way. Stick around. When we get to the 49ers part, the 49ers and the Eagles, we're going to go over a pretty interesting theory that I've not even really had the chance to dive into myself. As always, as you guys know, in case it needs to be said again, like 90% of the content that we go through in these videos, I have not seen until we go through it on the video. I'll just never get used to this whole new NFL. We can go for it on every fourth down. Don't care at all about field goals. I mean, they're on the 1.5 yard line. So, and plus, you got that dude, right? Justin Herbert. Oh, we're going to talk about that too. It just now dawned on me that both Los Angeles football teams are named after Dodge vehicles. Dodge Rams and Dodge Ram and Dodge Charger. That's funny. Kyle Shanahan with the Eagles personnel will go 20-0 for 5 straight seasons. Mike McDonald, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Ben Johnson. It's a coaches conference. First of all, pay my man Dan Campbell some respect. It's not just his coordinators, I don't think, probably, right? If you think Justin Herbert was the problem for the Chargers, then you don't know anything about how football works. That'd be me. That would be me. If man. Justin Herbert, if man. Rams-Bears is a matchup between the team that finds the craziest ways to lose games and the team that finds the craziest way to win games. A Packers QB threw for 4 touchdowns and no turnovers and lost the game. A Patriots QB threw for 1 touchdown and an interception and won the game by multiple scores. The NFL is a flat circle. Okay, the first time that I read that, I was like, It's because that's how it was with Rodgers and Brady. There's a group of Bears tailgaters who bring a sign that says, someday Brian Urlacher will come to this tailgate to every game they go to. On Saturday, Brian Urlacher showed up. That is, if you believe it, you can achieve it. Insert fucking, I can see his face. It's Michael Bisping and Luke Rockhold. Fucking Luke Rockhold.
You believe it and you achieve it. And that's what I do. I know what I'm going to do. I know that I'm better than this.
Sounds like the worst self-help book you've ever read. Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the fuck up.
This might be the stat that saves some jobs in the building. Packers were 9-3-1 with Micah Parsons and 0-5 in games that he did not play or finish in, which is insane because that is like some quarterback levels of impact on the game. It really is. 0-5 in games that you didn't play or finish. So basically, you just don't got a shot once he's not on the field. You're done. You're gonna lose for sure. Need a Broncos versus Bears Super Bowl where it's 3-0 at halftime, but the final score is 48-47. Oh Lord. Ben Johnson has an angel and a devil on his shoulders, and both of them are Dan Campbell saying go for it on every fourth down. I mean, Dan Campbell does go for it a lot, but I think that Ben Johnson's got to be crazier of the two at this point. I mean, Ben Johnson doesn't seem to, he's like the guy on Madden who doesn't punt and goes for it on for two every single time. It's basically Ben Johnson in real life, which I've always wanted to see if it would work. Open air stadiums located in the heart of downtown provide phenomenal visuals. The atmosphere tonight was something I'll never forget. Yes. I love outdoor stadiums and I love open air stadiums. I hate that the Titans Stadium is about to be indoors. I get why they're doing it because they want to bring the Super Bowl here ultimately. But now I will say quickly, that's not the greatest picture I've ever seen. Just like with a couple buildings in the background. But I have been in that stadium before to see a Tennessee game. I saw Tennessee get their ass whooped by West Virginia, shocker, a few years ago. And I do love the city right behind it. I would agree. Bears left guard Joe Thuney made an impressive... Joe Thuney? I don't know. Has made an impressive late Hall of Fame push. He's accomplished all this after 30 years old. 4 Pro Bowls, 4 All-Pros, 3 first-team All-Pros, 2 Super Bowl wins, 2 games missed in 4 years. On top of his 2 Super Bowls with the Patriots. Interesting. So he's got 4 Super Bowls total with 3 first-team All-Pros. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. That sounds like a Hall of Fame resume. Not gonna lie, I would absolutely despise Caleb Williams after this if I was a Packers fan. Did you like him before? But yeah, Lord, that's a crazy. That actually actually made me uncomfortable. I'm closing this out. Okay, I think that we're good. I think we're good to go. I think we are plenty warmed up. Let's roll my playoff clicks. We're plenty warmed up, I say. Right before I say let's run our playoff clicks. Let's run our playoff picks real quick, shall we?
The game that I want to point out, a couple of them in particular real quick, is I love the Jags in this matchup against the Bills, and they are underdogs at home for some reason. So I would definitely take a look at that line, maybe put a little something on that. I think the Patriots are still being a little bit undervalued. The Chargers have been, look at this dumbass over here. Yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and say take that as well. 44-year-old Aaron Rodgers, or 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers against that defense. The Houston defense is going to be... there's no way the Panthers are favored in that game, but obviously I would probably take LA. We'll just go through it real quick, right? We're going to go Houston to beat the Steelers, so we'll have Houston moving on here. We will have Jacksonville beating the Bills. We're going to take the Patriots over the Chargers, the Bears over the Packers. They just really, especially since Parsons has gone down, Eagles and 49ers. I'm going to go 49ers over the Eagles, and then I'm going to go Rams over the Panthers. I still do believe in the 49ers despite the way that game against the Seahawks went. And the Eagles are just very strange team. You just never know who's going to show up for them. So those are going to be the picks. We'll check back in on that next week.
So 5-1 overall. Felt like that was a pretty good first round, especially because the Jags would have won had Josh Allen. I didn't realize that Josh Allen was going to hang his nuts all over the Jags the way that he did. So that happened, and they made me miss, I should say, out on a 6-0 weekend, but overall, even that game was pretty close. So pretty happy with the way that things went, and we are going to dive deep into each of those games. Towards the end, we're going to do the Jags and the Bills and the Rams and the Panthers a little bit quicker than we do these first 3 games with the Steelers and the Texans, the Eagles against the 49ers, and the Bears and the Packers. Those 3 games we're going to get deep into because there are a ton of stories to talk about from those games, but there are big stories, at least one big story from each game that we want to really dive into on those. So yeah, moving through the warm-up portion of the video into the body. of the video, we have the Steelers getting blown out in the wild card after finishing 10-7, a tale as old as time. Ghetto Gronk. If you are in the football on social media community, then you know who Ghetto Gronk is. This is probably the first time I've used one of his posts, but I don't do it often because it is just such a popular page. I'd like to bring things that probably you haven't seen already, but we're going to get warmed up on the Steelers and Texans game with this. Hey, stop taking those hits, learn from those mistakes. You're going to be a hell of a player in this league. There's that Caleb Williams picture from before. Aaron Rodgers throws a touchdown on the final pass of his career. Let's see. Drops back, throws a pick. I couldn't believe that he got this in for a touchdown, to be real. Let's see. Oh, and he gets fucking shoved out of the way there towards the end to cap it off. That's a hell of a return. Like, legitimately. A hell of a return. It's 24-6 at this point. Less than 3 minutes of the game. I don't know if I don't even know where he was even going with that, but that was a hell of a return by 2 there. According to Cowsey, there's a 68% chance we just saw the last of Aaron Rodgers in the NFL. According to me, there is a 100% chance that you just saw the last of Aaron Rodgers in the NFL, especially because this was probably posted before Mike Tomlin stepped down. So the final pass of Aaron Rodgers' NFL career was a pick 6.
You done messed up, Aaron!
You done messed up, Aaron. This is hilarious. I actually saw something once that kids who were featured in this skit had to go to therapy and shit because they people would not pronounce their names correctly on purpose, I guess. Aaron Rodgers disappearing into a random cave in Brazil for a permanent ayahuasca retreat, never to be seen again. It's like that fucking. That one. Steelers fans going into next season after bringing back Mike Tomlin and making 0 big roster moves, expecting these to go differently than the past decade. Don't worry, brother. That did not happen. Just give it a second. The illusion of free choice. Start the season hot, late season collapse. Struggle early, late season turnaround. 9 to 10 wins, blowout in the wild card. Either way, it does not matter. The illusion of free choice. That's funny. This is straight elder abuse. I mean, that's a hand to the head, isn't it? Is that not a flag? Or I know it's not a flag because I remember this play and they did not call a flag, but I'm not a huge fan of the hand to the head being a penalty thing anyway, to be real. But anyways, the Houston Texans defense sending Aaron Rodgers into retirement. I'm not playing the audio on this. While this is playing, though, I do want to say I played some clips from the Steelers game last week on the episode. The whole thing got fucking copyrighted. The whole thing. There's parts where it's paused and I'm talking that got copyrighted. So if anybody knows how to help me out with that, that'd be really great. A random Steelers fan yelled Aaron retire as Yikes. Aaron Rodgers leaves press conference after being asked another Mike Tomlin question. I don't think that they're going to play I doubt that they're going to play what he said right before this, but he actually did just give a pretty thoughtful answer about how Mike Tomlin is unfairly criticized and that people want to fire him for no reason. And then it immediately was asked this next question. That's why he reacted this way. It wasn't, everybody likes to just play the clip and act like he just walked away, but that's not exactly what happened. I'm assuming that they're not going to play that part.
Preseason about him. And I've answered that a number of times. I've talked extensively about how I feel about Mike. And I just did in that fucking answer. So. Thanks.
I'm actually an Aaron Rodgers fan. I'm not going to lie to you. This may be a hot take, but I think the guy is severely misunderstood and over analyzed and over attacked personally. Not really on the field. It's really, this is all off the field stuff with this kind of stuff right here. I mean, he literally did just give a pretty thoughtful answer about Mike Tomlin right before that. Just while it's here, I just have to say, Ghetto Gronk, I think, if it wasn't them, I saw it from somebody else, but posted this post right here as a story. And the way that it goes up there, you can't tell if it's real or not. And I sound like I get off my lawn guy right now, but the accounts that post fake news or posting on purpose for satire, sometimes it's funny. The ones that have I don't know, a player signed to a team today, whenever they really signed to that team, 10 years ago or so, I don't know. Some of it's funny. The ones that purposely try, the purpose and intention is to trick you into thinking that something like this happened when it didn't. I don't even understand the appeal of it. It's so dumb. It's so stupid. half of your engagement is going to be people pissed off at you, and the other half are going to be people reacting to news that's not even real. I don't get where the gotcha is on that, to be real with you. How did Decalen Zacharias Metcalf, oh, the guy that he punched to, cost himself a spot damn near in the playoffs because he couldn't play for 2 games. He said that he called him the N-word, and actually he just called him by his full name. Hell of a route, though. He broke 24 off. Stingley Jr., one of the best corners in the league, absolutely broke him off, and then proceeded to just absolutely have bricks for hands. One of the first pieces of merch that I do may just be a shirt that says catch the fucking ball. Just catch the fucking ball. If it hits your hands, catch the fucking ball. It's just not that hard. It's not that complicated. You are a professional wide receiver. Great route. How the hell do you do that? And now that we're, getting into the throes of the game itself, this was about the only chance that the Steelers had to get something going for pretty much the whole game. And part of it is because of the way that Aaron Rodgers acts, to be fair, because he's pissed, as he, naturally you would be. But considering the fact that DK Metcalf had put them in the position that he put them in by punching the fan, and then he comes out and immediately does that, it seemed like, to many's eyes, that Aaron Rodgers just kind of went away from him, which I don't know what you want me to tell you whenever you have a drop like that, to be real. TJ Watt with 0 career playoff wins at age 31. What in the fuck is this?
Think that a blind person can't play football.
That's hilarious. CJ Stroud just hold on to the ball and our defense will win this game. Yeah, CJ Stroud had five fumbles. CJ Stroud. Aaron Rodgers in the final. This poor kid, JJ McCarthy, bro. This poor kid. Dog. The man got hype once, because he had a great game in the NFL for one of the first and maybe only times in his entire life. And he got a little hype. What's the problem? I feel so bad for JJ. Another successful Steelers hate watch. Damn. Wait, I swear on my life I thought that was Drewski. That's Drewski, right? Yeah, he's got to be filming a movie or something. Yeah, no, for sure. Anyways, moving on. Speaking of CJ Stroud, we were just talking about his fumbles. Pray for the Texans. The Texans are going to somehow beat the Steelers by 3 possessions, but it wasn't because of CJ Stroud. If he keeps up this act, their playoff push won't last much longer. I've seriously never seen a quarterback play that bad in the playoffs and win by 17 plus. Yeah, what's insane is that the final score was 30-6. So it's not just that he played bad and they won anyway, but it was 30-6. I mean, he played terrible. CJ Stroud got strip sacked. Yeah, this shit was. I wish they'd stop calling this fucking flea flicker. This play doesn't. I mean, it works sometimes, but the frequency at which it's called is just asymmetrical to its actual success. Look at this. And there's all kind of shit that can go wrong, which we saw. I don't think that we're gonna get to that today, I don't think, but I mean, again, I half the time don't remember the shit that I put in here, so we may get to it. I just don't think that it was this week, but somebody ran a flea flicker in a monsoon over the last couple of weeks. There are a lot of issues with that play. To run it like it's a normal part of your offense is wild. He gets the ball. Yeah, you got to let it. I mean, he had a guy in his face immediately. What he really should have done there is just tried to throw it at all. He should have just ate the sack at that point. Wants it right here. Let's see. Boom. He catches the pitch. I mean, he's immediately got somebody right there. So either let it fly, just flick it and let it fly, or right there, you throw it out of bounds, or right there, throw it out of bounds, or I don't know. He shouldn't have even tried to do anything with it on that. CJ Stroud hasn't lost a fumble all season, and this was his second one of the night. Well, he had quite more than that. How ass is CJ Stroud? All right. My wife watches this program. Let's move on. No, I swear CJ Stroud was trying to lose tonight. I mean, it's just a bad throw. Leave the guy alone. CJ Stroud, when his first read isn't open. Brother. But as a direct ripple effect from that, we had the second surprise and in some ways past that, just totally shocking, firing of an AFC North longtime tenured head coach. John Harbaugh last week, and then Mike Tomlin yesterday. Mike Tomlin has informed his team that he is stepping down as head coach of the Steelers per multiple reports. Now, here's the thing. Mike Tomlin was going to he wasn't going to get fired, but basically how this went was that the Steelers don't fire their coaches. They've had 3 head coaches since 1969. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin. That's it. And Mike Tomlin was relatively unknown whenever they hired him, so it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to go after a guy that they can have for another 20 years. Like they're not necessarily going to go after somebody that's established just because they keep their coaches for a long time. But the Steelers don't generally fire coaches. That's why he's been here as long as he has. And Tomlin's a good coach, for the record. I do think that he's a very good coach. But similar to things that we talk about in other areas of sports, like the Josh Heupel situation at Tennessee, for example, you can only be just a little bit better than bad for so long before people get fed up with it. And Mike Tomlin won a Super Bowl. He did, like 13 years ago. And he's lost 6 playoff games in a row. and they're not pretty. I think we have some of the scores here in just a second. But whether it be the same, type of situation as John Harbaugh, or you want to, or call it something else, but it was time to move on with him, just about the exact same way that it was time to move on with John Harbaugh. The two situations are actually remarkably similar in the way that you don't typically have a coach that stays that long at one place, and the fact that they both kind of stagnated within the program that they ultimately created. The messaging got stale, etc. The big difference being obviously that Baltimore has a little bit of a weird situation with the Lamar Jackson side to it, and Harbaugh potentially not getting along with Lamar Jackson. But you also don't know how much, and I would be curious to know how much Mike Tomlin had to do with the quarterback situation in Pittsburgh. A hilarious true story. Yeah, look, just talking about that. Damn, Mike Tomlin didn't win a playoff game since Captain America Civil War. But you know how weird it is? Mike Tomlin's Doc Rivers, and I can't be convinced otherwise. That's a great comparison as well. A great comparison. Doc Rivers. Here's your 6 in a row. Mike Tomlin since 2017. Lost in the divisional round, lost in the wildcard 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 round. Didn't win a game in any of those, including the year that he was in the divisional off the jump, which would have meant that they got a bye. So, not great. But then the weird thing with this entire head coaching search is, as a Jets fan, I would take this any day. What is weird, though, before I forget, and I will come back to the funny story that I was going to tell a second ago, but before I forget, one thing that's very interesting about the Mike Tomlin situation is that Mike Tomlin did, as I was saying, officially, technically step down, like we read here. That's important because the Steelers have to trade him if he's going to be on another team. He can't just sign with another team. He has to be traded. Bill Parcells, Mike Holmgren, and Bill Belichick, all coaches that were traded. Bill Parcells in 1997, the New England Patriots traded Parcells to the New York Jets for 4 draft picks and $300,000 in cash. Literally. Mike Holmgren, the Green Bay Packers, traded Holmgren to the Seattle Seahawks for a 2nd-round pick. And then Bill Belichick, the New York Jets, traded Belichick to the New England Patriots for 3 draft picks. Don Shula in 1970, the league mandated the Colts send Miami a 1st-round pick after Shula was lured from Baltimore to the Dolphins, which was a unique situation. Interesting. But yeah, all 3 of those, now that I'm thinking about it, the Patriots trading Parcells to the Jets, Holmgren being traded from the Packers to the Seahawks, and definitely, obviously, Belichick. The situation with the Jets and Belichick is its own story. He was the coach for like one day, for like a few hours, wrote on a napkin that he retired or stepped down or resigned or whatever it was, and ultimately was traded to the Patriots for 3 drafts. That's all. We'll do a storytime episode on that at some point. Didn't work out for the teams that traded these coaches, though, now that I'm looking at it. So don't really have too much of a choice if you are Pittsburgh, though, and some of the possible play. But that does, I will say, change the entire equation. Changes the entire equation because, what is a head coach worth? We're talking franchise quarterback plus some, I think. It really would depend on what you think about Tomlin, which I think a lot of people would think pretty highly of him. But trading a head coach, a Super Bowl winning head coach, trading them? What is the value on that? Today. Belichick was, three picks before he had even really won anything? I don't know, but a lot of teams are going to be thinking about it, not the Steelers, obviously. But now, at this point, you have, which we're going to come back to, 9 head coach openings in the NFL with Mike Tomlin stepping down. Oh, here's that post. Since Tomlin wasn't fired, teams would have to trade for him to become the head coach. Let's listen to this.
So the Steelers still retain his rights. If he was to go do television with Fox, it would be very similar to the situation Sean Payton did with Fox, where go do TV. I think Sean Payton crushed it. I think he did well. I think Tomlin will do better than anybody. I think Tomlin will be the best guy on TV as soon as he gets on TV. Yep. I think that'll be like a matter of fact. But if he doesn't enjoy it or for some reason does yearn to get back onto the football field, somebody's going to have to trade for the Pittsburgh Steelers to go get him.
So very interesting situation. A lot of people don't expect Tomlin to take another job this year. A lot of people expect him to go into TV. And then see what openings there are next year, similar to, as he mentioned, Sean Payton waiting for the Broncos job to open after it had new ownership. Jumping to the next game that we have to cover, we have the Eagles and the 49ers, and the fallout from that game being that offensive coordinator Kevin Pitullo was fired from Philadelphia. Pitullo, 44, will depart Philadelphia after 5 seasons on the team staff. He was the passing game coordinator from 2021 to 2024 and was promoted to offensive coordinator for the 2025 season. The kid got what he wanted, yeah.
I'm feeling two of two things. A, I want A.J. Brown packing his bags, and I want him somewhere else that is not here. I love you, A.J., but, like, you can't make those drops in that game. And I also want Kevin Pitullo flipping burgers at, like, the local McDonald's or something. I don't care.
Why do you say that?
Whenever he's an offensive coordinator, it's like he's flipping burgers. One side, he's cooking. One half, he's cooking. And the other half is completely raw. Yes, this was a huge letdown. This was my Christmas present, and I got a loss.
Oh, no. You probably would have rather had Cole, huh?
Yeah, probably.
A.J. Brown, the clock's ticking, brother, because that kid gets what he wants. That's for sure. That should happen within 24 hours, not even 24 hours. Getting into the game itself a little bit, you had George Kittle go down early, which we talked about early on in the episode. Golly, KP deserves whatever the fans do to him. Killed our season single-handedly. About Kevin Pitullo. So the Eagles just couldn't get anything going on offense. You had a lot of drops. You had 4 third-down drops by receivers, which isn't Jalen Hurts' fault. But while we're talking about Jalen Hurts, there's just been a lot that's been circling around this team all year. Going back to my playoff picks, one of the things that I said was that the Eagles are strange, obviously. And I said that because there is always something following this team around, whether it's A.J. Brown with the fucking book last year, or whether it's the weird end to the season that they had a couple years ago where they were super, super hot and then they just completely died off, or whether it be Sirianni saying or doing something weird or shaving his head or yelling at the fans, or, Saquon being taken out whenever he has a chance to break an NFL record last year. Like, even that, they won the Super Bowl last year and there was drama that followed them and just weird stuff that you just don't feel like would happen on many, if any, other teams. So, this all leads to just a really disjointed, stop and go, clanky offense in particular. And the Eagles have one of the best rosters, if not the best roster in the NFL. I don't care what anybody says. Howie Roseman might be, for my money, he absolutely is. And it's not even close, the best GM in the NFL. There's absolutely talent everywhere on this roster. They just cannot put it together. It's one of the weirdest things that I've ever seen. You got Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and even Jalen Hurts. Like, Jalen Hurts is serviceable at minimum, and he's elite if you use him the right way. Whenever you, in my humble opinion, when you use him as a runner first, and especially with Saquon in the backfield. I mean, they could, they're not that dissimilar from the Ravens, although before people freak out, obviously Lamar is a better passer, much better passer than Jalen, but Jalen's not a bad passing quarterback. He won the Super Bowl MVP last year, and he runs like a running back. Like, you can't figure out, and at the end of the day, that's why Kevin Pitullo got fired, because if you can't figure out a meal that you can cook with those ingredients, then I don't know what to tell you. And Howie Roseman basically said that. I don't know what to tell you, but it ain't going to be here that you figure it out. Speaking of which, Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni knew the season was over the moment Pitullo opened his mouth. Oh, look at the reaction on their face. Hurts and Sirianni right over here as it circles around. You got Pitullo there talking. Hurts. Here comes Sirianni over the left shoulder. He's like, oh, fuck. No, that ain't going to work. And then he looks over at Hurts. He's like, what do you think? And Jalen's like, I don't fucking know, I guess. Oh, that was a pretty awkward exchange. I'm actually relieved I don't have to watch this offense anymore. As much as it pains me to say this offense was not winning a bowl and I didn't want to watch them even attempt to. Damn, fire Kevin Pitullo. Did all that discussing and ran 4 verts into a cover 4. So, yeah, that game did not go very well for them. Former Eagle star LaShawn McCoy says he spoke to some people close to the team that revealed Jalen Hurts' limitations to run a complicated offensive scheme. Jalen Hurts, I need you to be special. Make plays. I did a lot of digging, man, and I won't throw them under the bus here, but I know some people, and the problem is we can't do different exotic looks, different formations, different motions, because I'm hearing that Jalen Hurts really can't do it. No birds, no Chiefs. This is really nice. True. Payback wasn't very limited when Shane Steichen and Kellen Moore ran the offense. Don't think that I disagree with that. Just false. Praising Hurts all year when we had a good OC. Now it's Hurts' fault. Shady stuff. Philly ran 10 plays on its final offensive series. They ran the same play / copied a previous play from that drive on 4 different occasions. It becomes one of those situations where you got to wonder if it's him or if it's the offensive coordinator. Yeah, weird situation. Again, Eagles, one of the strangest teams in the NFL. And I predicted them to win the division, by the way, to break the 20-year streak, and they did. But that don't really mean anything, unfortunately, for the record. They're the best team in a bad division. just like the Jags. Well, the Jags won the division, but I actually picked the Texans to win the division, which doesn't look too shabby now, does it? Even though the breakdown of the freaking schedule and how it went didn't exactly go that way, that was a good call on my part, I will say. Now, before we jump into the 49ers, I have to show you one of the most ridiculous things that I have ever seen in any sports-related context for any reason, any team. Like, there's no... I'm just going to show it to you. Where is it? If I'm here... Look at this. What is this? This is from a few weeks ago, by the way, but Eagles install Positivity Rabbit into their locker room to emphasize positivity and good vibes. The offensive line stressed they are not sad. They just wanted a good vibes bunny. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, am I missing something with this? Hold on.
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not into like holidays and like bunnies and Christmas. I do the Christmas stuff. I got kids, but like I'm not really big like joyful holiday person, I guess. So I don't know why. I think that's really the only spot we can pit a big bunny. But I was told it's vibe bunny, and the vibes are high. So there we go.
So you didn't sign off on him being in front of your locker?
Definitely didn't sign off in advance from my locker.
I really don't even know. I mean, I knew it was ridiculous whenever I put it on here, obviously, but I like, as I've said many, many times, I didn't actually scroll through the post. My God. Oh my God. Oh no, that is horrific. What the fuck do you expect? I'm moving on. I mean, the next thing might be as off the wall, but it's not a blow up positivity rabbit in a professional football team's fucking locker room, right in front of their star player's locker. At least it's not that, okay? Are we surprised this team's not in the playoffs anymore, for the record? Okay. Woo! The team that won, the 49ers, won partly because of a really, really interesting play call. Let's see. A really, really interesting play call from Kyle Shanahan, who probably is just going to have to be your coach of the year this year. In the fourth quarter, with the Eagles up by 6, Kyle Shanahan drew up a look at this. Nailed it. I will say that in real time, though, like as soon as he caught it, like, I mean, did they really? I don't know. That wasn't super. Like, the play itself was well designed to, pull certain parts of the defense away from McCaffrey, but like, I never for 1 second thought that Juwan Jennings was running that ball. Personally, I mean, the way that they tossed it back, and I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm not field level or anything. He just doesn't. He's not even looking forward at first. He's literally looking forward. He's not looking downfield. Look when he catches the ball right here. All right, look, he's facing the sideline running. Nobody does that unless they're just trying to pretend like they're running. If anything, he could have just kept his eyes up and stared at McCaffrey, but I don't know. Anyways, I'm nitpicking. That was a great play. But what's really interesting about that is that Juwan Jennings was a quarterback in high school. I actually played against him. He played at Blackman, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, right there. Played against him twice whenever I was in high school, and preseason once, and in the regular season, my senior year, they absolutely destroyed us. And he played quarterback then. And he was actually a huge, huge recruit. Like, I remember anecdotally being excited as a Tennessee fan that he was going to Tennessee because he was the highest ranked dual threat. As you can see here, Juwan Jennings was a 4-star dual threat QB recruit, ranked just ahead of Sam Darnold, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson. Yeah, use that in trivia the next time that you play. What current NFL wide receiver was ranked ahead of Joe Burrow, Sam Darnold, and Lamar Jackson as a quarterback coming out of high school? You could win some money with that shit. But the other thing about the 49ers, other than this being an overall impressive victory, one that we did pick, once again, is this story that I absolutely had to find a way to put in here. And unfortunately, George Kittle gave us a reason to talk about it once again, because this actually came out, let's see, 4 days ago. So yeah, that would have been. So this was like Saturday or Sunday that this post came out, and then George Kittle Kittle's Achilles ruptured, which is crazy. But let's go ahead and get into this wild shit. The reason why the San Francisco 49ers are always injured. Let's see. First of all, let's go ahead and read this caption. San Francisco would have at least 2 Super Bowls in the last 10 years, if not for injuries and mid QBs. This might be the crazy reason why the Niners are always hurt. Shout out TikTok creator Mike Elsie for explaining the situation. Go follow that boy. Minus 1 HP, minus 1 HP, minus 1 HP, plus 1 rad, plus 1 rad, plus 1 rad. Oh, God.
Ever, and it has nothing to do with football. See, the 49ers have been the most injured team in the NFL over the past decade. This lines up almost exactly with their move to Levi's Stadium in 2014. Now, people attributed the injuries early on to the turf that they used, but they fixed that and the injuries still piled up. Now, the recent theory is it has to do with their strength and conditioning coach that they've had since 2019, but that's seemingly not the cause either, according to a man named Peter Cowan. He's come up with what seems like a true answer to the 49ers soft tissue injury problems, and it has to do with the location of their facilities. He's released the first of his 4 articles on this theory, and I'll leave that information in the comments for you, but let me explain the gist of it. Essentially, Peter's using the 49ers as being the outlier in injuries compared to the rest of the NFL over the last 10 years as a real-life case study on electromagnetic fields and the damage that they can do to humans. Now, that's a lot to process, so let me explain a bit more simply. The 49ers practice field and training facilities are right next to an electrical substation. Side note explainer, a substation is basically the middleman between the power plant and the consumer that helps regulate. Turns out the 49ers injury bug must regulate the flow.
Just for the record, I'm not doing that to his voice. That's just his voice, I guess, or whatever the fuck he did to his own voice.
Of electricity. So Peter's hypothesis is that these low-frequency electromagnetic fields can degrade collagen, which is a protein that's the main building block in things like your skin, tendons, ligaments, basically all the soft tissue that could strain, rupture, and tear. And this would happen a lot easier and often if you were putting an immense load on it while it's simultaneously being weakened by EMFs. And this isn't just an assumption. Peter Cowan actually went as close to the 49ers facility as possible and picked up EMF readings at least 3 times higher than the typical home or office. And you would have to assume that the readings are even higher inside the facility because it is right up against the substation. Now, you could argue if this is dangerous, why has nobody done anything about it? Well, that's because the rules are outdated. The FCC guidelines from the 1990s are still in place and only recognize dangers that would come from radiation that creates heat, which means in the eyes of the FCC, anything like electromagnetic frequency, power lines, cell towers, and even Wi-Fi are all deemed harmless when they might not be. When you put all these pieces together, these freak injuries to the 49ers players don't look so random anymore. Regulate the flow.
That is weird, right? Or no? That's pretty strange, actually. Because that's the San Francisco 49ers is statistically the most injured team in the NFL over the past decade. The 49ers, since moving to Levi Stadium in 2014, 7 to 8 full Achilles or patella ruptures. League average is 2 to 3 a year total. Wait, what? Oh, the league average, there's 2 to 3 per year total for every team, and they've had 7 to 8? What the fuck does that mean? 7 to 8. Did they have 7 or did they have 8? 40 plus major hamstring or calf tears, high ankle syndesmosis injuries every single year. No other franchise comes close. Well, the Titans were statistically the most injured team in football for 2 straight years. The first year we went to the AFC Championship under Mike Vrabel. People forget, man. People forget. Number 1 seed under Mike Vrabel. 2 years in a row. Most statistically injured team in NFL history. And he still did that with it. But that's all right. Don't need him, I guess. In early 2025, retired guard Joe Feliciano In early 2025, retired guard John Felicano let it slip. Players have joked around about there being an electric substation right next to the practice field and how that has led to the 49ers injury problem. Peter Cowan, I went to the 49ers practice facilities with a Gauss meter at 11 a.m. on a quiet Monday, well below peak load. It read 8.5 milligauss at the far edge of the fields. Inside the facility's weight room, film room, recovery areas, potentially 10 to 25 mgs. Typical background exposure, so just general exposure, is 0.5 to 3 mg. And it's 11 a.m. on a Monday and it's 8.5 on the far edge of the field and it's 10 to 25. So basically, I mean, if whatever this is, that is, it's 0.5 to 3. So you're talking like, what is that? Like 3, you're talking like almost 10 times. I guess not, maybe like 7 or 8 times the amount that it normally is. I mean, for anything, 7 or 8 times the normal amount is probably not great. Preparing to explain to my family how electromagnetic fields are injuring NFL players. That's funny. So a quantum biology practitioner said electromagnetic fields are causing injuries and we're just going to ignore him. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it makes sense to me, doesn't it? Or one last thing that I want to talk about from this game is the AJ Brown and Nick Sirianni little spat that they got into, because I have to say that I have never seen anything like this in my entire life watching football. Genuinely. Never. By the way, I knew somebody was going to post this. Last thing a football sees before being dropped. Oh my God, yes. Oh, that's so good. That's 44 weeks ago. Look at AJ talking, whatever, who cares? I'm trying to find the most recent bullshit that he did. See, like, this is what I was talking about earlier. Cornball news. Like, what? Breaking, AJ Brown and the Eagles have decided to mutually part ways after an underwhelming season. AJ Brown will look to join a contender and win a Super Bowl. Like, there's no indication that it's fake. It just looks real. And it even looks like it. That drives me. Oh, that drives me crazy. Like, you just got to be the biggest cornball in the world. Like, they got 68,000 followers. And one of the 3 posts that comes up is Joe Burrow being traded to fucking Miami. Ugh, drives me insane. Meanwhile, I'm an hour into a video covering 100 different topics. I'm in the wrong business, I suppose. But AJ Brown, can I please? Okay, finally. Good Lord Almighty. Here we go.
Sirianni on, get off the field. And again, just a little colorful with this star wideout. They have a great relationship.
I rewound this like 6 times, whenever it happened. The first time, and I love every time fucking Tom Brady. They have a great relationship. Yeah, no, for sure, Tom. Like, no doubt.
In the heat of the moment, they know how much they care for one another. Sirianni. And look, maybe that little bit of accountability sparks AJ to life as well.
It didn't at all. And also, they're down by 3 in the second quarter when this happened. They're down by 3 in the second quarter. I don't know if this stat still holds true, but for a vast majority of the season, when AJ Brown had over 100 yards receiving, the Eagles did not win. He complained. They were winning every single game that he was complaining in. They finally started going to him, force feeding him the ball. He had like 8 catches, 11 catches, whatever the fuck it was. I'll put the stats up, and they lost. And then the next week, he had another really good game, and they lost. I love AJ. I think he's a passionate player. I think that he also, like a lot of players do, get unfairly, too harshly judged whenever they display passion on the field of a game that they're playing while they throw their bodies at 23 miles an hour into other grown men who are also running at 23 miles an hour. So I think that that's way, way overplayed. And I think that diva for receivers, which is generally what they're called if they say a word about wanting the football more to contribute to winning for the team, they're called a diva. So definitely, as you can tell, not generally a fan of that side of the argument, but God bless if this guy does not ever stop bitching. I don't understand. And the reason why Nick Sirianni acted this way is because AJ acts the way that he does. And then the play, I think, let's see if I can pull this up. Probably gonna get this copyrighted for even typing in the word NFL. AJ had just dropped the ball, and right before that, didn't drop a ball, but didn't even come close. Like literally the play before that, didn't even come close to being able to catch it because he just didn't go for it. He just straight up didn't go for it. And so then when he dropped the second one, Sirianni's like, get off the fucking field. And you can't really show up your player like that either and expect him not to respond. They are a grown man at the end of the day as well. But I've never seen this kind of facial expressions. Look, get off the fucking field. Get off the field. This to me from AJ looks like, what the fuck? Who are you talking to, motherfucker? I will knock your ass out. Sirianni's a big dude. Now that I'm thinking about it, AJ's like 6'4", isn't he? Damn. Sirianni's a lot bigger than I thought he was now that I'm thinking about it. But look at that. Telling people, no, don't be trying to hold me back. No, I don't. I'll beat the fuck out of him. That's the fucking language, the body language that AJ Brown's showing me there. But listen, he is annoying sometimes. I really do think that he's a great guy. If you know anything about AJ, he is a good guy. But man, you can't act like this and then go missing for like entire sections of the season or of games, which is why you leave fans feeling a little bit less than thrilled with you. Moving on from the Eagles and the 49ers and mysterious ruptures of tendons and moronic behavior from receivers who don't ultimately contribute to winning. Let's see. They won a Super Bowl, I know. I'm just fucking around. Just relax. Ben Johnson, the Packers and the Bears. Oh my God, look at this picture. I can't. Oh Oh, there was probably a little bit more noise coming out of their building up north to start the week, which we heard loud and clear, players and coaches alike. So this one meant something to us, Packers and Bears. Crazy game as well. Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is like the Tom Brady of Tim Tebow's, if that makes any sense. He plays like shit for 2-3 quarters, and then towards the end of the game, he's just absolutely unbelievable, and he makes throws. You know, in a way, it's kind of like the Cam Ward take that I have, where he does stuff sometimes that you just know, like, no, that's the number one pick. Okay, no, that you got your guy there. You got your guy. He's weird. He's got the fucking nails. You know, there's a lot to make fun of about Caleb Williams, but I will say the guy has some talent and enough of it to win some fucking football games. I will tell you that. I really do like him and Ben Johnson together. They're going to be the first coaches to have a brawl at midfield. I'll happily be watching that. Look at the Chris Paul meme. Yeah, no, fuck you. Whoops. Just accidentally unfollowed them. Ben Johnson is an absolute dog, though. I love Ben Johnson. He may be the, you know, and this is kind of, I've heard this being said, and I agree. This is kind of what's interesting about this year's head coaching pool as well, is that everybody's trying to get that guy always. They're always trying to get that guy with quarterback. They're always trying to get that guy with head coach. But Ben Johnson, Mike Vrabel, you know, the Patriots were 3-11 last year. The Bears have been a joke for years and years, basically my entire lifetime. The Bears have been a joke. And they got the guy now. They got the head coach. They got the quarterback, which, you know, I've talked quite a bit about head coaches that get fired when their quarterback is in usually their second season, and how that's like an oddly specific but true thing that happens. And you got to think that if you're one of those head coaches, it's kind of upsetting to see that quarterback pop in the second year. But in a lot of cases, it really is, because you do end up getting the right guy, like a Ben Johnson, like a Mike Vrabel. So I'm a big fan of Ben Johnson. And while we're talking about that, I found a pretty interesting clip from a former Titan. Would you look at that? Kevin Byard leading the NFL in interceptions this year. We gave him to the Eagles for a bag of chips a couple years ago. Anywho,
Ben as the offensive coordinator, but I mean, Ben is a fucking genius. Like, you being a defensive player and seeing Ben as an offensive head coach, like, what to you makes him special as a head coach?
For one, I remember just like his first meeting that he had. One of the first things he said was just like, first of all, it wasn't a rebuild. Like, we coming in to win right now. The main question that should be asked is not how do we win, it's like, how much did we win by? You kind of like your head coach kind of talking that talk, like, it's kind of get everybody going. And I'm pretty sure, and I've heard stories about just like how training camps are in Detroit. Bro, this motherfucker had us going full pads, tackling, bro. I tackled more this training camp than I had my whole career, just in this one training camp. He's a madman, bro. Like, he's a silent, like, assassin. Like, you see him in the game on the sideline.
Now, that's a very interesting philosophical debate right now. Kerr Cignetti is getting a lot of credit for not having his guys practice super hard, not having his coaches there all the time in college, because the culture has been before that you just grind and basically, you know, guys get burned out and injuries pile up and that kind of thing. But on the whole, football is actually much more so going the other way. A lot less tackling, a lot less contact at all, whether it be high school, college, or the NFL, in your preseasons, in your fall camps, in your spring practices, that kind of thing. Obviously, a lot of that is for player safety and it's good, but it's interesting to hear that they are that physical in their training camp. I mean, he tackled more in one training camp with Ben Johnson than he has his entire career in training camp. That's a fucking lot of tackling, right?
Like, super stoic, bro. Like, he don't got no emotion, bro. They had one mic'd up with him in the game, bro. We had like 4 takeaways that game, bro. He literally showed no emotion. We got the takeaways. Like, most coaches kind of get into it, bro. He literally was like, just stand there with a blank face. And he'll be like this the whole game, all the way up until he gets into the locker room. And then we turn up with the good, better, best thing.
Very interesting demeanor. The assassin thing does come to mind for sure. Let's see, there was one other thing. Let's see, I wanted to show you. This is Max Kellerman and Rich Paul on the Game Over pod. Let's see. Football is better when...
Bears are good. Yes. Like, this is how much that town cares about football. I remember an SNL skit way back in the day. Remember the Bears, that whole thing? The Bears. And I remember once Jordan, MJ, was hosting SNL. And by the way, he's in the middle of winning 6 chips for this city. And the Bears won in '85 and nothing since then, right? And the point was that if it was between Mike Ditka and Michael Jordan, they couldn't choose because they loved them both so much. 1 Super Bowl versus 6 chips. You still take the head coach next to MJ together. You can't decide.
Mike Ditka was a celebrity.
That's how much that town cares about football. What have the Bears done since '85? Right? The league would be so...
Thinking, calculating, no results. So I thought that was pretty interesting as well. And they are one of the more historic brands, considering that they haven't really done much since 1985. You got the Cowboys, who haven't done much since, or anything at all, since the late 90s. Travis Hunter to remain a two-way player. Good luck. Anyways, moving on real quick. Packers safety Javon Bullard discredited the Bears' 18-point comeback win and said, also, Chicago had never won a game in the playoffs that they were behind by more than 8, I believe. And they were down 21-3 at halftime. I actually stopped watching this game because I was positive that it was over. But safety Javon Bullard.
No disrespect to them, but it ain't shit that they did. It's us. It's us. We got to finish. You know, we whooping their ass the whole game. Like, that's us. We got to finish. They ain't do shit special. We got to finish. We ain't finished last time. We ain't finished this time. So that's some shit we got to work on within us. It ain't nothing. Chicago ain't do shit special. You know, they ran what they did. They did what they did. They made plays. Okay, cool. But a lot of this stuff is on us, and we got to fix that shit.
Try using this, brain. That's hilarious. I love that. 25 points in the fourth quarter seems pretty special to me. They scored 25 points in the fourth quarter. How do you even do that? How do you even do that? I have a friend, I guess, a guy that I'm friendly with in the complex who's a Packers fan, and he was not happy with LaFleur the next day after this game. But he's going to get an extension, so that's one guy who probably will not be moving on. To end this part of the video, I just wanted to play this interesting little thing from this little story about Luther Burden. Luther Burden told his girlfriend he was a bench player in college when they first met and invited her to a game. She still came to support him, and after he had 5 touchdowns in the game, shortly after, she realized he was the #1 receiver in the country.
I don't know about football. I said, what position you play? He said the bench. But he was the #1 receiver in the country. I didn't do my research. So he told me to come to a game, and he had like 5 touchdowns that game.
That's hilarious, dude. That is awesome. Luther Burden. I like Luther Burden. She's a keeper. That is a pretty cool story. And I mess with Luther Burden. I didn't have enough room on the roster for him early in the year, but I might try to snag my boy back. So to wrap up our playoff discussion today, we have the last 2 games that I'm going to try to fly through because we're probably over an hour at this point, which is crazy. I'm not even trying to make them this long at this point, but I don't know how I'm supposed to get through fucking everything without making it an hour. So I hope you guys enjoy the length on these. Rams and Panthers and Bills and Jags. Look at these scores. 17-14 at halftime. 17-17, 20-17. But look at the fourth quarter. You got 20-24 Panthers, then 27-24 Rams, then 31-27 Panthers, then 34-31 Rams. Look at this. 13-7, 13-10, 13-17, 20-17, 20-24, 27-24. And here's your Bears scores. In the fourth quarter, 13-55, 21-6. 21-6, which, yeah, that's tough. Let's see how it feels watching these nail-biter playoff games as a fan of neither team. Oh, true. I mean, there is one good thing to being, knowing your draft position already, and it's that you don't have to worry about the stress of the games themselves. Teams leading at the 2-minute warning through the first 3 games of the NFL playoffs went 0-3. That's so crazy. That is so crazy. Yep. The NFL playoffs without the Chiefs in it. Insane endings to every single game, basically. We need one drive. Go in there and win it for us, Trevor Lawrence. Jaguar players taking those girls back from Trevor Lawrence. Oh my God. Trevor Lawrence in his postseason career, 3 games, 7 interceptions. Woo! Yeah, him and Herbert got a lot in common, man. They got a lot in common. Jaguars were cursed from the jump. That's the Costco kids or guys or whatever the fuck. Who went 14-3 and then got bounced in the first round? That never does get better, does it? This is easily the greatest tush push in the history of tush pushes. Yeah, this is nuts. And also the Justin Herbert thing with the if man. The guy, I love that the if man thing is the way that he put that, because that is exactly the Justin Herbert experience. The guy cannot be blamed for his team losing no matter what happens. I mean, this Trevor Lawrence, they had a 27 or 28-0 lead on in the playoffs, 24-0, whatever the fuck that lead was. That they gave up, and you're telling me, and then people will say, well, how do you not just run the ball every play? I mean, I agree with that, Brandon Staley at the time. But also, if you're that guy, Justin Herbert, how the fuck do you blow that lead? Period. And to Trevor Lawrence, who's not Josh Allen or, one of those guys. Especially then he wasn't. Know the work rules, runs tush push. Oh, you're sweet, runs tush push. Hello, human resources? Also, I think this is a little bit different than what Jalen Hurts does, to be fair. I mean, if we're being totally honest, Jalen Hurts ain't doing that. Jalen Hurts is a big boy who got big old legs and he can squat about 600 pounds and all that stuff, and he still don't look nothing like that. Reminder that the Buffalo Bills tried to ban the tush push. Yeah, you won't be doing that again. Josh Allen, he got his ass beat up. Tony Romo in the booth watching Josh Allen fans. You hear this man's voice and know you're either about to hear something incredibly insightful or the dumbest shit imaginable. There's no in between. Josh Allen throws the hospital ball to Gabe Davis, resulting in his leg getting annihilated. Oh.
Knowing you're going to get hit, it's harder than it looks, by the way, when you know you got guys around you shot.
It's not harder than it looks. It's as hard as it looks. It's fucking impossible. What?
It's a great throw.
Okay, well, A, it's not a good throw because there's 3 guys around him. B, it's not a good throw because he made him leave his feet, which the knee thing would have never happened.
How you doing today, Lynn?
Had he not done that. I was going to show this later on, but we can go ahead and do this while we're doing the Bills and the Jags game. Liam Cohen had a pretty interesting interaction with one of the reporters that I actually still have not watched myself, even though I've made fun of it in the intro.
Jones, Jacksonville Free Press News. I just want to tell you congratulations on your success, young man.
Thank
you. Hold your head up, all right? You guys have had a most magnificent season.
Thank you.
You did a great job out there today.
Appreciate
so you just hold your head up, okay?
Thank
and
you,
ladies
ma'am.
and gentlemen, Duval, you the one, all right?
you,
You keep it going. We got another season, okay?
Appreciate
Take care and much continued success to you and the entire team.
Thank you, man.
That was pretty cool. That was actually pretty cool. But fuck them. All right, 75% of the bets were on over 51.5, and it finished at 51. I sent this to a friend of mine who, honestly, that's a great point over here to the right. Luckily, I got the over 45.5, always alt the original line. I would agree with that. I haven't been betting a whole lot lately, but if you're going to do the over-under and you really feel one way or the other about it, I mean, usually just buy points so that it's not, because it does end up very close to this a lot. One thing in the Rams and Jags game, looks like I lost my post that I had for that, but the Rams come back and beat the Panthers with MVP Matthew Stafford's effort. On the final drive of that game, he went, what? Dante Moore will return to Oregon next year. Dylan Raiola just committed there yesterday. Stay tuned for the college football episode, ? But yeah, anyway, the Rams won in another really good game as well. That was genuinely a great game. Matthew Stafford went 6 for 7 for like 71 yards and a touchdown to end the game against the Panthers. And the one that wasn't completed was a drop. But this post right here I thought was pretty interesting from Adam Schefter. Whoops, did not mean to copy that. Let's go to post. This is from a late 1990s, Matthew Stafford, 10 years old, playing for the Dallas YMCA Fighting Irish, throwing what we think is over a 60-yard bomb. There's no way. When I tell y'all I don't watch this shit, I'm telling you, like, most of this stuff I saw late 1990s Matthew Stafford, and it was a video, and I just knew I had to save it. There's no way. This is so cool for so many reasons. I don't even know where to start. The aesthetic, the slow motion football being played. Where are the linemen? What is going on here, actually? What is this? Like a hybrid flag? What's going on with this? Interesting. And look at him just walking around like, golly, get open. Like, damn. Oh, silly Matthew. Silly boy. Kid thinks he's going to be an NFL quarterback. We tried to tell him, but, he's convinced he's going to be an NFL quarterback one day. Dog, that's a rocket launcher. What the fuck? Oh my God. So yeah. Wow. Didn't expect that whenever I started talking about this game, did you? Also, probably didn't expect me to talk about Puka Nakua's brother, who stole an NBA player's car. Puka Nakua's brother, Samson Nakua, has been arrested after allegedly stealing Lakers rookie Adu Thero's SUV. My God. And look at this. Oh, yeah, come here. Samson Nakua really a nuisance. Here he is slapping a fan in the stands after the UFL game. Yeah, this was a few days before Puka had posted all the anti-Semitic shit, too. Them boys are nuts. Puka went off in this game as well. And the Rams beat the Panthers. Probably the least surprising result of the weekend, I would say. To wrap up this week's NFL episode, the head coaching openings are now 9. You got the Steelers with absolutely no quarterback situation and just a very weird situation with them, and the Ravens being really long-term franchises that don't typically get rid of head coaches that both need one at the same time. You got the New York Giants with Jackson Dart. You got Tennessee with Cam Ward. You got the Falcons with Michael Penix Jr. You got the Browns with Shedeur Sanders, I guess, or Dylan Gabriel. I guess whichever one of those guys you want. Shit, you can wait around a little while. Deshaun Watson will be back if that's what tickles your fancy. That was not an ideal phrasing of that. 25% or more, almost 30% of the league needs a coach right now. So that's interesting. And John Harbaugh will be the first big domino. But as of the moment of recording this, we really don't have too much news on that. I think John Harbaugh will be the first domino to fall. Don't be too shocked if that happens, and it'll get real interesting after that. Mike Tomlin, I don't think will be hired at all this go round. I think he'll go into TV. But yeah, the last thing that I have to show you is that Jordan Addison was arrested. This just happened a day ago, so I wanted to cover it quickly here at the end. But Vikings star wide receiver Jordan Addison was arrested early Monday morning at 3:46 Eastern Time, a.m., by the way. Nothing good happens after midnight. I know I sound like I'm 75, but just in the future, when you see stories like this, go ahead, take your little peek at what time of day it happened. It's almost always something like this. 3:46 in the morning, go to sleep. What are you doing? You're in the NFL, charged with a first-degree misdemeanor for trespassing in an occupied structure or conveyance. Addison, 23, was arrested at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino located 12 miles from the Tampa Bay International Airport. He was released from custody at 2:40 p.m. on Monday after posting bail for a $500 cash bond. It's the third time that Addison has gotten in trouble with the law since entering the NFL. The NFL suspended Addison for the first 3 games of the 2025 season after he was arrested on suspicion of DUI in Los Angeles in July 2024. He later pleaded guilty to a lesser charge. Addison was also pulled over for driving 140 miles per hour in Minnesota during the summer of his rookie year. Golly, I forgot that's so fucking fast. Dude, he pleaded guilty to a single count of speeding as a plea, part of a plea deal that dismissed a reckless driving charge. That's crazy. You want to talk about what the real privilege in American society is, in our justice system? It's called wealth. Who's in his quarter like, young buck, you gotta get it under control. Yeah. Son of a... When the arrests start rolling in, you know the NFL offseason has started. Oh, that's brutal. Yeah, we're gonna leave it there. Jesus Christ. This is the longest that I've filmed. By far. This was tough to get through, I'm not gonna lie to you. We had trouble in the beginning, but we made it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I would love to try to find something more interesting. You know what? We'll just do this. Fuck it. You never can go wrong. Well, real quick, if you're still here, let me show you this. This is what Steve Biscotti said about John Harbaugh when asked if he would still be the head coach if Tyler Loop had made the field goal against the Steelers and the Ravens had gone to the playoffs.
Tyler Loop makes that field goal. Is John Harbaugh still here coaching this team?
For a week.
Not one laughter. A bit of laughter. They're like, oh. So anyways, wanted to show you that, but we'll be out of here with this Jameis Winston core that I just found while I was going to the bathroom while I was filming. Why not leave it there? I love you guys. If you're still here, what feels like multiple days later from when I started filming, I love you so much, and thank you so much. And please tell somebody else about this great channel that you watch for hours and hours on end to this guy babble and about whatever the fuck I don't even remember at this point. I quite literally get to the end of these episodes, don't even remember what I talked about. This is no different. And my actual recording time, just on this one, by the way, just on this one recording, is 1 hour and 37 minutes. So I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. Leave you guys with this Jameis Winston clip. I'll see you guys next time. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Goodbye.
Hey guys, this is going to be the first New Heights podcast done in the PE room.
Yeah.
While somebody's on some Normatex. Well, my very first pass in the NFL was a touchdown, and a lot of people can never say that. Yes, it was a Cody Simpson ball on a pick six. My very first pass.
You know what's funny about that is that Marcus Mariota's first pass in that same game, they played against each other. Jameis was the number 1 overall pick. Marcus was the number 2 overall pick. They played against each other, and he threw a pick six on his first play, and Marcus threw a touchdown on his first play and had 4 touchdowns. And I think that's the only game he ever had 4 touchdowns. Well, I'm not saying that. I said I was going to let you guys watch this.
Offensive coordinators have you played for, James?
4 to 5, man. 4 to 5, maybe 6 or 7. 6, 7. You know, I need to stop doing that. So I was watching Lilo and Stitch with the kids, right? And you know how like Lilo is in this other land, but you know, he steals the ship to escape that land because he about to go to prison or whatever, and he just finds his way on the earth. That's where Cam Scatterbo is. Toward the end of the year, they just were like, hey, Jameis, I got your back. Like, we got you. We know you're going to let it fly. Like, we got your back. And then, you know, boom, poof, they get Tom Brady, they win the Super Bowl next year. It wasn't me, but they decided to get Tom Brady to make it seem like it was him that did it. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much for the passion and the energy, you know what I'm saying? Because like you always say, what you always say?
You gotta fight.
No, you're Come on, bro. You be fighting.
You're the best, dog.